Welcome to Cold Steel's Deadliest Weapons. Today we're talking about the Recon Tanto. That's right, we're going to jump over with Lynn Thompson, the founder of Cold Steel. He's going to discuss it in great detail. Then we're going to jump over to Luke Fontaine and hear a little history. Let's get started. Let's join Lynn.
During my long sojourn at Cold Steel, one of the questions I was most frequently asked by patriots who were sending their sons or daughters or nephews or nieces off to war to serve in our armed forces, to defend us, to maybe sacrifice their life at the altar of freedom for us, was what knife should I give them? What knife should I send with them? One of my dear friends, her son went over to Afghanistan where he got the Bronze Star, and one of the knives that I sent him was a Recon Tanto, like this. This Recon Tanto with the Sanmai blade is a fantastic combat knife. It's got a thick spine, over 3/16 of an inch thick. It's got a hollow ground blade. It's beautifully done. There's very few custom knife makers that can emulate the finish of this knife. It's beautifully ground and polished. The grind lines are really good. The Yakote is really crisp right here. It's got a very acute point, which makes me want to jump away from it. The edge is quite sharp, and I'll come in here and it's actually biting my skin. So I'll just gently take some hair off for you. Let's check that out. And that was hard to even shave because I was very close to cutting through the skin and drawing blood. So it's razor sharp. The tang goes all the way through past this grommet, clear back to here. So it's a full tang, wide full tang, and it's got a continuous curve to the edge. From here to the Yakote, if you sight down there, there's a continuous curve. I do that for a reason. I seldom want a straight edge on a knife. I prefer a continuous curve because it accentuates and promotes cutting and slashing with it. And it concentrates the force in a smaller area so that when I pull and press, I get that cut that I'm looking for. The secondary point edge right here is very sharp. This edge is quite sharp also. Now, you won't find any other Tanto on the market, I guarantee you, where that secondary edge is as sharp as the primary edge. That thing's shaved easily. That's razor sharp. So when you have this massively reinforced point by the spine, notice the spine goes up to here to almost about 5/8 of an inch from the very terminal end of the tip. It massively reinforces that and stiffens it. One of the things about a Tanto that Cold Steel makes is the way we have the spine and the hollow ground bevel, it makes for an enormously stiff blade. And the stiffer your blade is, the more penetration you're going to get. So when this point breaks the skin or breaks through the target, and that edge punches the hole, the rest of the blade just follows right through that hole instantly. So it might take a little bit more effort to start your insertion, but once it's past this point right here, it's like butter. Just goes through like a hot knife through butter. So it has tremendous piercing and stabbing power. And if your life's worth a lot, it's worth buying a Recon Tanto.
All right, you heard from Lynn on how deadly the Recon Tanto is, from the puncturing to the slicing to the cutting to the defending. Now let's go hear a little history from Luke Fontaine.
Cold Steel's Recon Tanto. I can't say enough about this knife. It's a beautiful modern update of a traditional Japanese Tanto. It's got Lynn's signature revised American Tanto point. This knife is practically indestructible. I've got the Sanmai version in my hand, which is beautiful, but you can see the hard temper line going up the blade. This modern take on this blade is incredible, especially in terms of being a knife for military use. The Tanto point and the stiff blade, you can puncture just about anything. I've seen this knife go through steel drums like they weren't even there, just punctured through them like they were tinfoil. It's a great knife to have reproduced because the Tanto was a staple all throughout history in Japan. Quite honestly, the Tanto most likely finished off more samurai than a katana did. Because when you talk about battlefield combat, a samurai, depending on the period, if we talk about the later period in samurai warfare, a samurai went into battle with a yari, a katana, and a tanto. Japanese yoroi, Japanese armor, was very, very effective, and it did its job in terms of displacing and beating off sword blades. So a tanto, somewhere on your person, when you got into close quarters combat, your yari broke or you closed distance with your opponent, this is what you pulled out. And the reason you pulled this out was because this would go in between the plates of the armor, and it was stiff enough and small enough that this is what they finished you off with in combat. And the tanto was extremely efficient in doing that. And this modern version of it is a beautiful reproduction with modern updates, modern steel, a beautiful Secure-X sheath. This gives you a lot of bang for your buck. And it's also a really, really beautiful knife to have as a collector's piece. Recon Tanto by Cold Steel. Can't get much better.
All right, that's the Recon Tanto, one of Cold Steel's deadliest weapons. Make sure to join us next time when Luke, Lynn, and I discuss another piece of deadly metal. For Stickman, I'm signing out.